But it's important for us to say what would have happened if the act they proposed and carried out on January 8th had succeeded. Many would have been killed. Many would be in prison today. Many would be undergoing torture today. And many of us would have to leave Brazil, fleeing and leaving everything behind. So I don't feel sorry, but I do regret this kind of situation. And when I see the Bolsonaro family once again using this situation to promote themselves, I feel disgusted. I feel disgusted by that. Because Eduardo Bolsonaro rushed and posted the little video of the fugitive who was arrested, convicted, and now has been arrested to serve his sentence in Brazil. He posted the video talking about the persecution and the wickedness of Alexandre de Moraes, and I ask you, what about him? Eduardo Bolsonaro ran away. Eduardo Bolsonaro led people into the January 8th attack and ran away, and you sitting there complaining? Too bad. Bolsonaro only didn't run away because Alexandre de Moraes acted quickly, put on an ankle monitor, and then ordered Bolsonaro's arrest. So, like, they don't care about you at all, but of course they're using this again to promote themselves. Then there's a group of people posting on social media, blowing up Brasilia, and saying, look at Trump, I don't know what, and putting bombs and making it look like they're blowing up Brasilia. I'm not saying Brasilia is perfect. We all know it's not. There are scumbag senators. There are scumbag congressmen, right, Flavio, right, Eduardo? We know that. But they end up coming back full force all over again with this issue of coup-mongering, where they once again feel represented by everything rotten that Flavio Bolsonaro stands for. And they're doing everything they can to bring about a United States intervention in Brazil. And Donald Trump, as my grandmother used to say, my dear, everyone gives what they have, my dear. And we know very well what Donald Trash has to give. Intervention, coup-mongering, and theft. For example, Donald Trump is stealing from Venezuela on live television, stealing all the oil and gold from Venezuela. He thought he'd do the same in Iran, but he got screwed. That's what he wants. Then these people come with those posts about Donald Trump intervening in Brazil, dropping bombs on Brazil. Then comes the Bolsonaro family with all these negotiations to see if he interferes in the electoral process. But let me tell you something. Lula is going to win. Do you know why? People aren't stupid. No, I know there are some idiots. No. Obviously, we know there are sheep and there are idiots and there are crazy people full of hate. We know that. But the majority of Brazilian people are mentally healthy. They can at least see what's right in front of them, unlike the Bolsonaristas. Then a girl came to talk to me, right? And no, I think she's rich. She knows what I'm talking about. She's a stuck-up poor girl who hates poor people but is poor herself. She's a right-wing poor girl. Then she came to talk to me like, Andrea Gonçalves, I'm centrist. I'm centrist, but let me tell you something. Since there's Lula, right, basically, and Flavio Bolsonaro, I'm going to have to vote for Flavio Bolsonaro. I said, whoa. What are you? You're centrist and you're going to vote for Flavio Rachadinha? You don't even know what you are. You know what you are? You're a stuck-up poor person who hates so much what you are, which is being poor, that you don't like voting for the left or for PT because you think there are only poor people there. That's why you're doing this. So you're going to tell me that you're centrist and you're going to vote for that bum. No, stop the conversation. The conversation is over. There's no conversation here. No, get away from me. Oh, give me a break. It's like you telling me, oh, I'm right wing, but since there's Lula and Flavio, I'm going to vote for Flavio. Don't you have any shame? Only if you're right wing, bitch. Are there no other candidates? Are you so bad, really so bad that you can't even come up with another candidate? And there are other candidates out there, see? There's the one from Missão, that guy from Missão. There's Caiado, right? Another option. It's not possible that you don't have anyone. If you tell me you're right wing and you're going to vote for that bum, then I'm sorry, my dear. Maybe the bum is you. Because, guys, for God's sake, Flavio Bolsonaro is more of the same and barely any different from the most corrupt and criminal son of the Bolsonaro family. And a coup plotter. And there's no, it's nothing. I don't have patience for this. No, I don't even have time to waste my life on this. No. Look here at the post. This is one of the posts they're putting up there. Bolsonaro supporters make a campaign ad with Trump and the United States attacking Brazil. Pro-Bolsonaro profile true. In Focus, they made up a movie with critics' quotes to incite a foreign invasion in the country. Then they post it here. Have you ever heard someone say, don't forget about Brazil, Trump? Look at how stupid these people are. These are the people being arrested and held accountable for what happened on January 8th. And now they're making videos crying and everything. But I repeat, if they had managed to pull off the coup, I myself would have had to flee Brazil. Why? Because what? They would silence us, catch us, torture us, kill us, make people disappear. Because they themselves said they would start by killing the 3 highest authorities in Brazil. What does that mean? That they would kill anyone, they would get everyone. They plan to get Lula, Alexandre de Moraes, and Geraldo Alckmin. There was talk among them about even creating a concentration camp, one of the worst concentration camps from the Nazi era, Auschwitz, which they were going to set up in Goiânia. Now it's there. Oh, it's amnesty because poor them. Poor them? Go. Go ahead, encourage and feed the crocodile and you'll see. Soon you'll be devoured by it. And it has nothing to do with persecution or revenge. It's the law. Penal code. Attempted coup is a crime. Attempting to violently abolish the democratic constitutional order is a crime. And if you lost the election and someone else won, they won. They're elected, that's it. End of story. Not satisfied? Get ready. There's another election in 4 years. That's how democracy works. Don't think you can take him down. Remember, Lula isn't going up the ramp. Lula isn't going up the ramp. Article 142, military intervention, gunshots, beatings, bombs, go, 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 go. Did you forget? You forgot about the blocked highways, where all the gas stations closed out of fear. And a lot of people were stranded without fuel in places where they had nowhere to go. The camps, the January 8th invasion. And now, keep encouraging them and you'll see these people again. You'll see what a mess it'll be, especially with that Donald Trash over there. And Donald Trash is already getting ready to try to interfere in Brazil. Okay? He already labeled Brazil as the country with the most drug traffickers in the world. For what? To justify soon an intervention in Brazil, and the idiot Bolsonaro supporters are applauding. Oh, Donald Trump. Hey, American flag and licking Donald Tranqueira's boots. All for what, Andrea Gonçalves? Is it to take down Lula? But it won't happen. You won't take down Lula. Not even with the help of the United States will Flavio Bolsonaro win. Why? Because we won't let it happen. The people won't let it happen. A fifth-rate crook, a scammer, to take over the presidency. Do you know what Brazil would become? You take a bit of Rio de Janeiro, the sad situation in Rio de Janeiro because of the corrupt politicians who are there. Militias, criminal organizations, all kinds of bad things, and mix it with what's happening in Argentina, where people there are eating donkey meat. You mix that together. That's what Brazil will become if Flavio Bolsonaro wins the election. And he won't win. He won't. It's going to be tough, Andrea Gonçalves. It is. It is. It'll be tough, Andrea Gonçalves. For me, it'll be easier than in 2022. In 2022, the difference was 60 million votes to 58 million votes. Lula got 60 million votes. Bolsonaro got 58 million votes. The gap will be larger against Flavio. Go, Andrea Gonçalves, go. Why? Because Bolsonaro in 2022 had the machinery of government on his side. Bolsonaro bought votes in every way you can imagine, and he did it on television. That's why he was soon considered ineligible, and he was convicted in 2 cases at the Superior Electoral Court. He created benefits that shouldn't have been created in an election year. He defaulted on court-ordered debts. He defaulted on fuel tax obligations. He created truck driver aid, taxi driver aid, benefits that were not included in the budget law the previous year. They should have been included so he could do that, especially during an election year. Otherwise, it just looks like vote buying. Bolsonaro then did everything he could, and especially things he wasn't allowed to do to win the election. And even so, he didn't win. He had the entire machinery of government. And I say that Lula is going to win. Of course, we're going to fight. We're in the fight. That's obvious. I'm not saying this to you to give up. On the contrary, it's for you to go all in. It's for you to go after it. And that's it, period. I see everything Flavio Bolsonaro does. Think about the stupidity. The guy has nothing to say or show, guys. Flavio Bolsonaro has no work to show. If he has to show, for example, a project he did, a bill he created, which project is he going to show? You already know, Mala. Which project is he going to have to show? His attempt to privatize the beaches in Brazil. He doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have any work to show. He was a state representative. Now he's a senator. He has nothing to show for it. Do you know what nothing is? Nothing. Except for the mansion he bought for 6 million without the financial means for it. And guess who lent him the money? Paulo Henrique, who's in jail. Yeah. Everyone around Flavio Bolsonaro ends up in jail. Incredible. Everyone. I want to know when his time will come, right? So like this situation here, guys, is very serious. And there's no reason to feel sorry. Then the troublemakers take advantage of this to promote him. Look here. And I ask you while you're watching this, who is speaking and where are they to be saying what he is saying? Look here. Smash the like button, my beautiful people. And pay attention.
That scene ruined my Sunday. How far does human evil go?
Here, guys, look. I can't take it anymore, family. I can't take it anymore, my brother. It'll pass, it'll pass. Why so much injustice? Why are they arresting so many innocent people? Why, my brother? Why, Mom? Why so much injustice, my God? Did they get what they wanted? Did they get what they wanted? I've been in prison for 2-3 years. I wronged justice. I wronged justice.
Well, now you can cry. Now you can kick and scream. But you were there on January 8th. And if it were up to you, Lula would be dead. Geraldo Alckmin would be dead. And Alexandre de Moraes would be dead. Because that's what you were standing for, Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is doing well today. Thank you. He is under house arrest. The doctors released a new report for Alexandre de Moraes, who wants to know his status. He is already doing well and has improved. He just left jail and went home. He's already better. And this guy who just posted that video saying that his day, his Sunday, his weekend is over. It's Eduardo Bolsonaro. Where is Eduardo Bolsonaro? He ran away. Coward, spineless. He didn't even have the courage to show up to the hearing that was just scheduled. And he didn't show up. He put you there as cannon fodder, like the one sent out front to take the hit, and he ran away and fled. And now he's doing it again. Oh, poor him. They even play emotional music in the background. Oh. And you want to know something? If the Bolsonaro family gets the chance and opportunity, they'll do it all over again. All over again. The difference is that this time the leader wouldn't be Bolsonaro because Bolsonaro is in prison, but Flavio Bolsonaro. It could even be Eduardo Bolsonaro, but he's already fled. So it would be Flavio Bolsonaro. But the difference would be that Flavio Bolsonaro would flee before being arrested. because they thought Bolsonaro wouldn't be arrested, especially because of Eduardo Bolsonaro's threats together with the Trump administration threatening the Supreme Federal Court. They tried to intimidate the Supreme Federal Court, believing he wouldn't be arrested or convicted. But now they know that he gets arrested, he gets convicted, and that's it. So Flavio would have run away earlier. That would be the only difference. But they would use those people as cannon fodder again, like cattle, straight to the slaughterhouse, literally. They're capable of that because they've already done it. And if they had the chance, they'd do it again. The situation is that the justice system doesn't give them that opportunity anymore. It's over. But if they could, they would do the same thing. And the sad, very sad part of all this is that they would manage to influence people's minds again through this talk about God, country, and family. Through religious fundamentalism, where many religious leaders are mercenaries of faith and exploit people's good faith to manipulate them. Where they are turning the pulpit, the place of worship, into a real platform for low-level politics. Behind the scenes, they're making deals in the back rooms for the same arrangement, with an added complication. Fascist government Donald Trump will try to undermine the government to benefit the far right. But for me, that's going to backfire badly. Why, Andrea Gonçalves? Because you can be, as I always tell you, you can be right-wing, you can be left-wing, you can be centrist, you can be whatever you want. After all, our Constitution establishes that political pluralism is one of its foundations, right? Now, people don't accept traitors to the country. People don't accept attacks on our sovereignty. So this kind of intervention, with this situation becoming very clear, will make people unite in defense of our sovereignty. And it doesn't matter if they're right-wing, left-wing, or centrist. The people will want to know who is defending our sovereignty, our territory, our jurisdiction, our homeland, our flag. Who truly and honestly is Brazilian? And it will become very clear that the Bolsonaro supporters are America's bootlickers. Bootlickers of Donald Trump. And they even salute the American flag. And if they have to suck up, sell out, and give everything they have to the United States just to win the elections, they will do it. Besides, the Sunday before last, Flavio Bolsonaro was at the CPEC event in the United States, where Donald Trump didn't even show up. And there he offered rare earths, he offered everything to the United States, bootlicking and acting subservient. Many of these Bolsonaro supporters, in fact, believe that we Brazilians are cognitively, aesthetically, and morally inferior to Americans, to people from the United States. That's a big lie, a huge fabrication. In many situations, they've tried to make us believe it so that we would see ourselves as inferior, but we are not. We are Brazilians proud. We have our differences. We have our diversity, colors, loves, and flavors. And we are not inferior, not aesthetically, not cognitively, not intellectually, not morally to anyone, much less to Americans. Do you understand? Write this down, my dear. Brazil belongs to Brazilians. And this strategy from the far right, from Flavio Bolsonaro and Eduardo Bolsonaro, I believe it will backfire badly. It will backfire badly. And this is a line you can be sure we are going to use in this election. Because we do not accept being subservient to anyone, much less to Americans. We are not lapdogs. And we're not anyone's backyard either. If you are, that's your problem. We are not. Brazil belongs to Brazilians. And the place for a traitor to the country, you can cry now, it's okay. The place for a traitor to the country is in jail. Do you know who doesn't go to jail? It's those who run away, like Eduardo Bolsonaro. You are a coward. You put people on the front line. When things got tough, you ran and hid, just like Alexandra Ramage. Just like others, like Alain dos Santos, and they keep barking from outside like angry dogs. Because if they come into the yard here, then fall, 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 fall. That's the truth. Only a fool would get involved in these people's craziness. Because this one here, look here. Trump administration puts Brazil among the biggest major suppliers in the drug trade. I see. A report from the United States Department of State included Brazil on the list of countries considered as the main sources of chemical substances for drug production on a global level. Where do the world's hardest drugs come from? Mainly, where do the world's hardest drugs usually start as a rule? United States. The United States has street after street today filled with people who look like zombies, with the harder drugs there, where the person loses control of their body, their motor coordination, and the person stays there looking like a zombie in various ways there. And there are a lot of videos like that on the internet. I'm not going to show them because I don't want to expose those people, because most of them are also victims. Let me ask you, did Donald Trump fix the problem over there in the United States? The United States is currently experiencing an epidemic of people struggling with drug addiction. Uma epidemia. Family after family destroyed, hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people on the streets looking like zombies, where hard drugs, the worst ones, always begin. And I ask you, who is Donald Trump to try to bring order to Brazil if he can't even handle his own house? Americans are asking for help. And did he solve the problem there? The day he solves the problem there, then he'll have the legitimacy to say, folks, I think I know a way. Then he'll have the authority to speak and to act. Until he solves the problem at home, who is he to try to interfere in other countries? Obviously, he uses this situation here not to solve the problem itself, because if he had the solution, he would solve it in his own house. This is just an excuse to try to interfere, to intervene in countries like he did in Venezuela, where televised for the world to see Venezuela is being robbed day and night. He is going to take all the oil from Venezuela. And now he's taking gold too. That's what he wants. Including when it comes to Brazil. Especially when it comes to rare minerals, critical minerals, rare earths. Since he can't steal from China because China, right? It's the country with the largest area of critical minerals. He can't intervene there. So he's coming here looking at Brazil. Why? Because Brazil is the second largest power in the world, only behind China in rare earths, which contains the 17 critical elements that are rare worldwide. High-tech industries need these minerals. The weapons industry, rocket industry, everything needs these minerals. Cutting-edge, high-tech industries need these minerals. Since he can't get them from China, he's creating this whole situation here with the support of the Bolsonaro supporters so he can intervene in Brazil soon. For what, Andrea? To steal from Brazil, just like he's doing with Venezuela. He really doesn't care at all about drug traffickers or whatever, because I repeat, if that were his real concern, he'd be dealing with it in his own country. Some Bolsonaro supporters are applauding this. Mainly the Bolsonaro family. Because for the Bolsonaro family, the worse things get, the better it is for them. And maybe that's the only way for them to have at least a minimal chance to take down Lula with American intervention. Then they put up the facade of a moral and urgent situation, drug trafficking, which they are saying is terrorism that exists here in Brazil. Criminal organizations are terrorists. Then they put a cover like this to make it look like it's ours, to impose something. No. They want to steal from Brazil. They only use this as a cover to create a smokescreen and meanwhile intervene to steal from Brazil. Because I repeat, if that were really the problem, why didn't he solve it in his own country? Just look it up, search for it on YouTube. Streets in the United States with people totally miserable. I even get depressed seeing that. And if he really was someone who was concerned, he would be trying to solve that right there. And he doesn't solve it. So, like, these are really sad situations, you know? Very chaotic. And thank God we have the progressive movement that still resists this situation. Let's look at another little fact here. You know that guy who was defending the coup plotter who was arrested to serve his sentence? Where is he, guys? Eduardo Bolsonaro, where is he? In the United States. Why? Because he chickened out. And see, there isn't even an arrest warrant out for him. No arrest warrant has been issued for Eduardo Bolsonaro. And he already ran away. He's already gone into hiding. He's already tried to dodge it. And then he's there saying that he's doing a service for Brazil. You really have to be an idiot to believe in something like that. He's protecting himself because he knows what he did. Exactly. That's what's happening. Right here, right? Alexandre Ramage. Remember him? He was arrested and then released. Then a committee of senators over at the Foreign Relations Committee approved their trip to the United States. Obviously, most of the Bolsonaro supporters are going there, maybe even to help Alexandre Ramage and visit Alexandre Ramage. But they said no, that it's not to visit Alexandre Ramage. It's to visit the people who are being arrested by the AIS. They never cared about the Brazilians who are being treated like criminals by the Trump administration. Because many Brazilians who go to the United States, you know this very well. I don't even need to explain it to you. Many are workers, the vast majority are workers who go there to try to improve their lives, who go there to save some money, come back to Brazil, or maybe even stay there. And they're Brazilians, and they do very hard jobs, jobs that Americans don't want to do. And they go there to work and to work hard. Many are being caught, captured, and are being treated like criminals there. And no one here, no committee from the National Congress has ever talked about going there. Then after Alexandre Ramage was arrested, a committee, a foreign affairs committee from the federal Senate, which is made up only of Bolsonaro supporters, approved the trip of a group of senators to the United States, all paid with public money. They said it was to visit these Brazilians. But in reality, they are going there to visit Alexandre Ramage, the fugitive, a fugitive from Brazilian justice, who requested asylum. The United States is reviewing his request, so he won't be arrested now. At the same time, his extradition process is ongoing, just like Carla Zambelli in Italy. So what happened? Now it will depend on Davi Alcolumbre to be approved. The release of the money has already been approved in the committee. For the release of the money to be approved, it has to be approved by the plenary of the Federal Senate, by the 81 senators. But for this to happen, whether approved or not, it needs action from the President of the House, Davi Columbre. Davi Columbre is the one who needs to put it up for approval or rejection. And he can stall and not put it up. That's what I told you. Many situations inside the National Congress don't happen. Why? Because the mandatory legislative procedure isn't being followed. Is it required and necessary? That's a tacit way of saying no. Not moving it forward. Davi Alcolumbre might not submit this for consideration. If he doesn't put it up for consideration, what happens? There won't be any release of the money. If you want to go visit, you can even go visit. That's your problem. But there won't be any release of public money for you to go visit a coup plotter. Because this situation is a disgrace. Here, look. Senator reacts to the possibility of Alcolumbre blocking the pro-Ramajan mission to the United States. Although the request has already been approved by the committee, it will still have to be voted on by the full Senate, since the mission will cost the chamber money. The vote on the floor depends on Alcolumbre's decision, as he is responsible for setting the agenda. In other words, Davi Alcolumbre can decide not to put it on the agenda, not to submit it for consideration, which is a way of saying no implicitly. I'm going to tell you something. I know Davi Alcolumbre plays both sides. Now, in this situation here, if I were him, I would say I'm not going to put it up. If you want to go, you go. You say you're on a mission, that they can do this. You say you're on a mission, you go, then you write the report and all. You'll see what happens. I won't approve it. That's it. It's over. I've already said I won't. That's final. You can solve this another way. I'm not getting involved. Find another solution. There are other ways. Do you understand, my dear? So that's the situation.